The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.
Here's Yo Daddy.
Hats off to you, lady. Good job. We'll see you in the hereafter. Viva Austin, Texas!
It's the Big Daddy G Show. Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Now type it in, take it in. Where do I begin? He's really funny and he's not really thin. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Big Daddy, Big Daddy. It's the Big Daddy G Show.
Dude, you gotta try the queso with the taco meat, man. It's delicious.
Really? That's a book on how to make Mexican martinis. I've got the recipe right here. Y'all try that. Share it.
The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. Daddy's home.
Here's Yo Daddy.
Never done that. So anyway, my new assistant.
Hey G, we're on air.
My new assistant, she's got the worst arthritis you've ever seen in your life. I'm telling you, it's horrible. It's just, anyway, hi kids, welcome to the Big Daddy G Show. I'm the Big Daddy G, who knew? And here's my water. It's water, Doug Gray, it's water. Anyway, thank you, Hardy Corona, Palm Springs Road. One of the best Mexican martinis in town. Woo! Very good. Okay, and this is my Aunt Mary's old flask, by the way. It's empty now. She didn't send it with anything in it. couple of things, or a few things. I think I've only got like 4 minutes and 20 seconds to talk, because we have 10. I have 10 seconds. I have 10 seconds to talk. Oh, okay. All right. So here we go. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is something that happened in Austin back in January 19th. Two guys were walking down the street, and they happened to be holding hands, and they were attacked by 3 guys, and this happened January 19th. Well, they caught the guys. What's sad to me is that 2 of them were Latino, and one was Caucasian. And I just think it's sad because I don't know any Latino family that doesn't have a gay family member. So for them to pick on, 2 guys for being in love, that's, I don't know, I don't get it. But I was thinking they're going to try to charge them with a hate crime because they beat them pretty bad, dude. These 2 guys, they beat them pretty bad. And I was thinking that if they find him guilty, because, you're innocent until proven guilty. But if they find him guilty, I think they should not allow them in Texas anymore. So, because this is the friendly state, So anyway, hate crime can't come to Texas anymore. There you go. Couple of things, people, if you are out in public and you got your kids, that does not give you the right to just let them run loose and do whatever it is. Some kid got caught in one of those claw machines, where the pet, the stuffed animals. The kid got caught in there. Dude, keep an eye on your kids and keep them quiet, because quiet's good out in public if you're at a restaurant and stuff. So keep an eye on your kids. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, oh, hey, Andy, my friend Andy and Ryan out in Hawaii. Got to say hi to Ryan too. Hi, Ryan. Andy been trying to reach you, can't reach you. So give a holler sometime. They had a big storm or something in Hawaii, like tidal waves and stuff, so I was just a little worried. Special Olympics, 50th annual Special Olympics, March 14th to the 21st. They're needing donations, so if you guys can help them out, Google Texas Special Olympics or Special Olympics in Texas, something like that, and they need help. I've worked with those kids before, and they're awesome. They're the coolest people in the world, and so please help out if you can. Here behind me, as you can see, is Chris Rogers' mural. We're showing this because we love Chris. We love you, Christopher, and we're going to have you back, I promise. So we have Chris's mural, and how much time do I have left? I have 15 seconds left. One quick thing that I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if it's political or not, but all these kids that are missing from immigration kids are missing. Well, it turns out that the Betsy DeVos corporation happens to own adoption agencies or something like that. So I just think that needs to be investigated, I think. One other thing, how come if you rob a bank, the FBI calls in, but if we get robbed, the cops show up, take a report, and then we're in file somewhere? How come the FBI doesn't come in? I mean, I've never been robbed, but I'm just saying. All right, so that's it. That's all I got. We have a new sponsor today, and I believe that this is, what? Really? They want me to say this? Okay, Lipton Green Tea, now with Viagra, when you just have to keep him up all night. We'll be right back.
When Lipton blows the whistle, you gotta have a cup of tea. Listen to the Lipton whistle. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Lipton tea.
Lipton flow-through tea bags, like 2 bags of flavor in one.
Oh, it's Rocky Balboa taking the beating of his life. I hope you're ringing that bell. I can't concentrate.
It's over, Rock.
Now that it's over, just give me something to drink.
There ain't nothing on ice till I say it now.
Lipton fresh iced tea,
Except maybe this.
Risk, baby.
Get in there! Save some of that for the sequel!
How you doing? We're back. You guys caught me adjusting. Anyway, we're back, and we have an awesome musician here. He is so talented that we were able to find him. I believe Tyrone was one that found him, and decided that we should have him on the show. So I just want to let you guys know that a lot of the people that we have on our show go on to bigger and better things, including record deals. So please, if we invite you on the show, Peterson Brothers, make sure you come on the show. I'd love to have you guys here on the show for this month. That would be awesome. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our musician for tonight. His name is Joe James. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome.
I know a girl so beautiful, stars in her eyes and an attitude that can take over the world. She walks like a queen, and she talks like.
Who was that singing? I
don't know. I don't know that guy.
Wow. So let me ask you a question. Your name is spelled Joe James, J-O, and then James. Now, is that a stage name, or is that your real name, or?
It's a stage name,
Okay.
nickname. Full
Okay.
name is Joseph James Lewis,
Oh,
but
nice.
my pops gave me that nickname years ago, so it kind of stuck.
And why Joe? Why Joe James? I mean, I know James
Yeah,
is
yeah.
your middle name, but why did he pick? Well, it's Joseph, so I guess he's just missing the E, right? Okay, all right, I got you. Dude, nice shades.
Oh, thank you.
They look really, really nice. Okay, so where are you from?
I'm originally from Southern California.
Southern California. All right, Southern California. How you doing? Anybody out there watching? Do you know?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I told a lot of the family back home.
Nice, nice.
Tune in.
Well, dude, if for some reason you cannot watch, if you're not in the Austin area, you can always go to my website, thebigdaddyg.com, and live stream it. So if you have any other family members that you want to watch, call them now, text them now. It's bigdaddyg.com, and click on the watch. So also, here he is. There's people from all over the world watching tonight. Okay, there's almost 500,000 people watching you tonight. Say hello. Hi, 500,000 people. How you doing? Let's drink. Let's do you guys. Very nice. Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
So you're from Southern California. Can a town?
I grew up at Long Beach, California. Then
Okay.
we moved to the Riverside area.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's
All right.
where I spent most of my time.
Okay. And when did you come to Austin?
I moved to Texas about 5 years ago, and I moved up north, but my wife and I ended up moving to the Austin area maybe a year and a half ago. Yeah.
By up north, do you mean like Pflugerville or Round Rock or
No.
Georgetown or?
More north than
Oh,
that.
more north than
Yeah.
that, okay,
Yeah, we were in
okay.
like Belton, Texas or something.
Oh yeah, I like Belton.
That's
I've been in
town.
jail there. Okay, what brought you to Austin? Why'd you go? Oh, let's move to Austin, honey.
Well, I was a part of the music scene in the Los Angeles area for a while, which was cool, and I did a lot of writing and like session work, and I played here and there, but I really wanted to dive into a live music scene, and I figured, what's the best place to do it than Austin, Texas?
In the live capital of
Exactly.
live music capital of the world, Austin, Texas. That's right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I don't know how much time we have, so somebody is going to have to tell me. But what is the guitar the first instrument you played?
No, bass was the first instrument.
Okay.
Because my dad's a bass player, so I obviously wanted to be like him. 8 years old, I started playing
Yeah.
bass. Which is kind of funny for an 8-year-old, and the bass is
And a
like,
big old bass, yeah.
But then I moved to drums, and guitar was my last instrument, and I started singing in my maybe like early 20s too. So it was like, but I felt I could express myself a little more on the guitar as a writer, and it just kind of flows that way with that specific instrument.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let me ask you a question. How long have you been in Austin now?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half, okay. And what would you do, you came from California and, you went to North Texas out, Belton, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in Austin.
Yeah.
We have about 40 seconds. What would you tell some kid just like you that wants to do the same thing? What kind of advice would you give that kid?
I'd say, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I would say, learn how to market yourself and be your own PR and manager and get into the business side if you really want to do it professionally.
Right. Nice, nice. Well, dude, I go out in public and I give out cards all the time. If you're watching the show, odds are you've gotten a business card from me. So, and that's what you do is you got to get yourself out there. This guy is so good that he's on this show. Okay, so and he didn't do it. You heard him. He started when he was young. So you got to start. You remember, practice makes perfect. Yeah. All right. So we're going to be right back after these messages. And we're going to hear Mr. Joe James sing. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
The Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show.
I know a girl so beautiful, with stars in her eyes and an attitude that can take over the world. She walks like a queen and she talks like a dream. Give her your hand and she'll show you things you never see. That shines in the deep. Love burns like the heat. Put your arms around her and she'll make you say. Sometimes I wanna walk away. Ooh, girl, it feels so wrong. You make me wanna live another day. Ooh, girl, your love is strong. A single tear runs down her face, and it makes you wanna take back all the things you can't erase. Put your heart into her hands. Forever you will stand just like a rock sits on the land. Put your arms around her and she'll make you say. Sometimes I wanna walk away.
Hey kids, we're back. Joe James.
Thank you.
See, I was born to leave you. What can I say? Never been a wise one, never changed what I want for you. How could you ask me to? Said, girl, I see you looking, I'm looking too. But I don't play those love games that always leave me feeling blue. Yeah, you know they do. Knocking at your door, baby. You know what I wanna do. I don't mind killing the dove. Say I don't mind up to no good. Well, take my time when I step to you, babe. I don't mind, don't mind. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. See, I can't stand it, the way you're moving. Your conscience is already getting low. You got time to spend, well, I got weed to burn. Tell me what could go wrong. You could walk 500 miles, baby. So what would that really do? I don't mind killing the dove. So I don't mind. It's up to no good. Take my time when I step to you, baby. I don't mind, don't mind. Said I wouldn't mind falling if you trust that when I do, someone would be there to catch me, someone like you. Said I don't mind killing the dove. I don't mind up to no good. Oh, take my time when I step to you, baby. I don't mind, don't mind. Say I don't mind killing the dove. I don't mind up to no good, babe. My time when I step to you. Say I don't mind, don't mind. Say I don't mind, don't mind. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You're everything I want, you're everything I need, and I don't mind it. You're everything I want, you're everything I need, and I don't mind it. You're everything I want, you're everything I need, and I don't mind it. You're everything I want, you're everything I need, and I don't mind it. Thank y'all. That song is off my new EP, Midnight Dealin'. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and all those cool stores. This next song is the title track. This one's called Midnight Dealin'. Jamestown City ain't the place to be when you're all alone. I kiss my baby, go and move some stone. Smoke the day's last cigarette, missing New Orleans. What I do on these streets, bring a grown man to his knees. When my mama cried, asking why do you do me this way? But I don't have an answer today. Midnight dealing, it's got me feeling way. You walked out on me, haven't seen them since that day. Lord, I wish that I was right, but I will never be. Lord, I wish I seen the light, but that's not part of me. When my daddy died, I asked God, why do you do me this way? But he don't have an answer today. Midnight dealing, it's got me feeling, hidden killing, yeah. It's midnight dealing, yeah. 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 Huh. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Thank y'all. I'm gonna play an older song. This is one I wrote back when I was in Los Angeles. This one's called Haddonfield. Little boy said, he said, Mother dear, will I ever get out of here? She said, boy, Lord, I just don't know. After what you did, I don't think so. She cried, she ran away. This is what he had to say. I don't know why my world is spinning round. I'm gonna get up and bring hell to this town. Heaven filled, I've got my eyes set on you. You know what I'm going to do. Going to do. Now 21 Smith Groves, a thing of the past. The doctor said, nah, we better get him fast. Find my little sister, all that runs through his head. The doctor said, girl, you know he wants you dead. She cried, she ran away. This is what she had to say. I don't know why my world is spinning round, but I'm gonna get up and bring hell to this town. So Haddonfield, I've got my eyes set on you. You know what I'm going to do. Yeah, what I'm going to do. know what I'm going to do. Look y'all. Here's 6th Street. I need to get home to my bed. Damn, this whiskey, the thing that is on my head. Well, hey, do you miss me? Do you even know who I am? It's been a long night and now I'm trying to fight the feeling that I get when I think of you. I need another drink to drown this blues. Well, take me to the river, wash my pain, yeah, yeah. And won't you make me feel, won't you make me feel, yeah, make me feel whole again. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Goodbye, sunshine. The southern moon's calling my name. But down these street lights, they're bad to drive me insane. Ha. You're not gonna miss me, baby. I won't even cross your lane. Yeah. It's to another night where I'll just try to fight, yeah, the feeling that I get when I think of you. I need another drink to drown this blues, baby. Well, take me to the river and wash my pain, yeah, yeah. And won't you make me feel, won't you make me feel, yeah, make me feel the way I did when love was younger, but it's over now. Room is getting darker, and the pain is growing stronger, yeah. I need another drink to drown this blues, baby, yeah, and make me feel, won't you make me feel, make me feel. Here's 6th Street, and finally home in my bed. Damn, this whiskey, a thing that is gone to my head. Thank y'all. I got one more. This one is off my brand new EP. You can find on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. Just search Joe James, JoJames, or check out joejamesmusic.com. This one is called Black in My Heart. I remember the time when your eyes got me so high. I could touch the sky, and your lips taste of wild honey, and I can't deny that I didn't try to make you happy, but something happened, and I feel it deep inside. Can I testify? Listen. To leave me, deceive me, I was nothing but your fool. Believe it, let it burn into your mind. You're out of time, 'cause you're black in my heart. Ain't that a shame, baby? Tore it apart like it was nothing but a game to you, babe. Black in my heart. Ain't that a shame, baby? Ain't that a shame? A kiss from the devil sounds way more satisfying. So I ain't lying. You did me wrong, honey, one too many times. I tried and tried to make you happy, but something happened. I feel it deep inside. Can I testify? Listen. Said move on, you're all wrong. I am not your little fool. Believe it, let it burn into your mind. You're out of time, 'cause you're black in my heart. Ain't that a shame, baby? Tore it apart like it was nothing but a game to you, baby. Black in my heart. Ain't that a shame, baby? Ain't that a shame? I said, ain't that a shame? I said, ain't that a shame, baby? I said, ain't that a shame? Hey, hey. Huh. Thank y'all.
It'd be difficult for people to prove intellectual inferiority. That's why even in our textbooks in school, they don't like to teach our children about black inventions. Because even greater than our African history are our American inventions. Because from nowhere, you're coming up with things that revolutionize the American social and economic order.
Well, basically, there is a proverb that says that the only thing that peoples of European descent ever created was the patent office, because they stole everybody else's ideas and put their name on it.
During slavery, because you were the property of your master, a lot of what we invented was automatically given credit to the master. The credit was forwarded to the master because we was property. We weren't allowed to take fame or notoriety for the things we created.
Anything that made work easier. Why would white people want to invent something that make work easier when they have black folks to do it?
You have a huge incentive to try to get things to move smoothly so that, you don't get any more lashes, or somebody doesn't now have to sell someone else in your family. There was a lot of incentive to create inventions.
And that's another thing. Most of our black inventors had to deal with idea theft. White folks would come in and say, we did it first because we didn't necessarily know the process or have the money to patent our inventions. So white folk will find out what a black person invented and go do it real fast and get their application in, because back then the process wasn't as thorough as it is now. Whoever got their application in first to the patent office, that's who got the patent. So we got thousands of inventions by black people. We'll never even know it because of the fact that they were stolen.
They don't want anyone to know that we invented things. If it wasn't for black people, white people couldn't take a dump. A black man invented the toilet, and he just made it white on purpose.
A slave by the name of Black Sam, Eli Whitney slave, created the idea for the cotton gin. and his master took it and patented in his own name. How could he do that with no benefit of books he wasn't even allowed to learn?
A lot of people assume just because African slaves were illiterate, they were ignorant. And there's a real big difference, because African people, they had a very elaborate language, or elaborate languages over in Africa. When Africans were brought over here, they were taught a bastardized version of English, and they weren't even allowed to see the language written down. And they were taught the language by lower class Europeans who were living in the South. So even though there was that major obstacle, blacks still did phenomenal things. Thomas Edison was known for stealing people's inventions. He was known for taking the inventions of a few African-American inventors. Lewis Latimer, Granville T. Woods actually went to court with Thomas Edison, and Granville T. Woods actually won his case.
Thomas Edison tried to bring Granville T. Woods to court on that invention. And I just saw a commercial for Mazda, I believe, cars, where they said, here's a man holding 1,000 patents. Well, 90% of them he stole.
Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison, who are probably considered America's two greatest inventors of all time. But guess who was designing their blueprints for the patent application? A black man. Now let's think about this for a minute. If you invent something, why do you need me to do the blueprints for the patent application? If it's your idea, how in the hell can I do the blueprints for it? You can't do the blueprints for my idea. I have to do them. So if Latimer is doing the blueprints, if he is your chief draftsman, and he's doing your blueprints for your patent application, Alexander Graham Bell, did you invent the telephone, or did Lewis Latimer invent the telephone?
Thomas Edison had a whole troop of people that was in his sweatshop, and depending on the invention, he would hand it over to that particular department and tell them, see what it is that does, and then do something a little different, and we'll patent that. And when he took Granville T. Woods' information and tried to make it his own, the court said no.
The watermelon and black people stereotype, that came and that was popularized by Thomas Edison. Around 1890, Thomas Edison put together this Nickelodeon reel, and there were these African-American men who were joking around, shucking and jiving, and kind of mugging for the camera, and they were eating watermelon. And Edison filmed this, put this out, and the general public saw this, and they said, okay, African-American people must really love watermelon. And right after that film came out, thousands of postcards and all types of memorabilia flooded the market of African-American people eating watermelon. So that watermelon stereotype was popularized by Thomas Edison.
A lot of people don't know there's an African-American male who is significant, has patents on the first major computer chips that made computers operate.
Other inventors that we don't know about, essentially, who they call the father of the internet, was Philip Emeagwali, a Nigerian man who essentially created the connection for quantum bits of information so that multiple computers could actually communicate with one another.
During slavery, and this is well documented by white people, many of the masters, when they were sick, did not call for the physician. They called for the big mama on the plantation, and she would come with her medicine bag that didn't have alcohol and rum. It had all types of things that she made from the herbs that she had planted. Some of them said, I don't want the doctor. Bring me the witch doctor, that voodoo woman who I own.
Africans took what they brought from Africa, which would be a ground hockey, and all they did apply the game to ice.
When the British were fighting the United States, there were African slaves or former slaves assisting the British in fighting the U.S. When the U.S. won and the Britons lost, many of the African Americans were sent to British colonies in West Africa, and many of the African Americans were sent into Nova Scotia, Canada. And they formed what we now know as hockey. They started to play this new game called hockey, which was something that Africans were doing in Africa. In ancient Kemet, there was a form of field hockey that they were playing. And they went into Canada and they created what we now know as hockey. And there were actually black Canadian hockey teams in the early sport of hockey that a lot of people don't know about. And there's a great book about that called Black Ice that talks about the early inventors of hockey who were men of African descent.
The baddest cowboy, black or white. This man was so bad that they called him the Invincible One. Just to say that there was nobody badder than this man in the West, and that's been co-signed. The brother's name was Bass Reeves. Now, Bass Reeves was a former slave who pretty much beat up on his master to get away.
When we think of runaway African slaves, we always think of the Africans sneaking away in the middle of the night, hiding, ducking and dodging behind trees, hiding in bushes, hiding in rivers. Bass Reeves decided he was not going to be a slave anymore, and not only was he not going to be a slave, he told his master, I'm going to beat you up before I leave. So he beat up his master, escaped and got away and went into Oklahoma, which was like an outlaw territory. So he actually got away and became very prominent in the Old West.
When they began to open up the Oklahoma Territory, they needed to recruit people. And they recruited him because he knew the Creek language, he knew the Muskogee, he knew how to speak the Seminole language. He knew all of the natives of the area, and he sat with them to learn about their traditions. The real life of this black man, Bass Reeves, became the mythic legends of Hollywood white cowboys. He brought in 3,000, count them, 3,000 bad guys. I'm talking about the worst murderers. He got 3,000 of them, killed 14. All of who the Lone Ranger became when you saw him on TV was actually the life of Bass Reeves.
African people, in many ways, the Underground Railroad established African people moving west and establishing places to be able to protect them. And so in the study and the research of the Underground Railroad, you will find that there are African-American communities that were established and have been there from before people can actually talk about it historically.
Many people don't realize that African-American people founded and settled many cities around the country. Buffalo, New York was founded by a black man. They called him Black Joe Hodges. Many African-American people had a less volatile relationship with the Native Americans. A lot of the European settlers, they were beefing with the Native Americans. So they couldn't go into certain areas peacefully, but a lot of African-American settlers would go in there and they had somewhat of a camaraderie with the Native American people. In Los Angeles, 44 African-American families came to Los Angeles and founded Los Angeles. The governor of what was then known as Alta, California, which is now the state of California, the governor was a man of African descent named Pio Pico. And there's a street out here in Los Angeles called Pico Boulevard named after him. You had an African-American woman named Biddy Mason, who was a very wealthy landowner in early Los Angeles. So African-American people were very prominent in founding many cities around America.
Chicago was a city founded by Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable, a brother of Haitian background coming up through and founding this city, Chicago, because that is what the indigenous people called it in this part of Illinois. Now, Seneca Village really is a misnomer for Senegal Village. Seneca Village was a community in New York City that was purchased by freed Africans. When the enslavement of African people was abolished in 1827, Senegal Village became a meeting place for African people in general. The backstory, it is believed that Senegal Village became part of the Underground Railroad for African peoples. Starting in 1855, you're going to have people start to call it a shanty town, where people who are squatters live. They're going to demean the importance of Senegal Village. Going to say, you see all these African people moving up in here, and they're squatters, they don't belong there, and we need to create a park. And so they begin to put themselves upon the people. Finally, the mayor signs an edict saying, eminent domain, you got to get out. And so by 1857, the last Africans were forcibly removed from their homes.
What's interesting about Central Park, it was once an African-American community, Seneca Village, and now there's an ancient African monument. There's an obelisk in Central Park right now that's from ancient Africa, from ancient Kemet, and a lot of people don't even realize it's there.
A lot of people think that the enslavement of African people was only down south. That's not true. The largest plantation in the 13 colonies at one point in history was in Brooklyn, New York. And you know that area down there, down by Battery Park, where they used to bring the ships into that area, the port. And they would dock the ships, and they would bring the Africans up out the ships, and they would walk them across to be sold. However, what they did was, Because they couldn't sell all of them, they used to put them in different prisons along this particular path. And then they would march the Africans that they were ready to sell down the street. Down a street called Wall Street. Down into a place we today call the New York Stock Exchange. African people were the first stocks and bonds sold on the stock exchange. There's a movie by Bruce Willis that will show you the prisons that are underground, the stock exchange building.
Wiley Jones was a former African-American slave who went into Arkansas. He stacked his money up and he became a railroad owner. He owned a railroad system, and the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas ended up buying his railroad system, and that system is still owned by Pine Bluff right now. The Patterson Car Company was a car company founded by former slaves, African-American men, and the Patterson Car Company was the first African-American car manufacturer in the country, I think the only manufacturer in the country. And what's interesting about the Patterson Car Company, it was in Ohio. Their cars were considered higher quality than the Model T cars that Henry Ford had.
The DeRay brothers, Ford and them stole it. That's why all over the world, Ford never gets credit for inventing a car. He gets credit for mass production.
The cars began coming off the assembly line at the rate of 1 every 40 seconds.
Until that, they take one car and put it together. One car and put it together. But where did he get that from? George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver was never around black folks till he went to Tuskegee. His mother and father died or was killed. And a white family adopted him from Iowa. You know, black folks in Iowa, except football players. So he went to grade school, high school, and they didn't have no segregated schools. They didn't have enough people. And so now George Washington Carver leaves after he get all this education come out there. He goes to Tuskegee. Henry Ford came down to visit, like he always see his friend. And he said, Mr. Ford, I got something here. Study plants. And see, if you take this back and give it to your engineers, they can build more than one car at a time. He took it back. Mass production all over the world is called the plant, right?
Everybody made joke of him because they said, well, you know, but the plants are talking to him? You know, is this how he's getting these properties of these plants? And George Washington Carver, in his quiet, dignified way, said, well, who taught me? I'm not saying that they talk to me like they got a tongue, but I can look at a plant and see what it can do for the human family.
The military came to George Washington Carver, and they said, we need you to do something for us. Can you invent something that out of it we can get paint, glue, ink, and plastic? Yeah, I can handle that. They tell me how smart black folk are. I can handle it. So he came back, called soybean. Now you want to hear something funny? The #1 cancer group in America is vegetarians. Because you wasn't supposed to eat soy. When he got to Tuskegee, they thought he was gay. No association with women, high-pitched voice, they thought he was gay.
The finest use we've been able to make of peanuts is in the treatment of the after effects of infantile paralysis.
And he'd rather for you to believe he was gay than tell you that them white folks that adopted him castrated him so he couldn't have sex with their daughter. Like, who wanted them, huh? Did you see King Kong, New York City, Empire State Building? That's about Jack Johnson and the white ladies. Why would the gorilla go to New York? They ain't got no bananas, and Lord, no ain't no trees. Why did they go there? The boxing capital of the world is Madison Square Garden. If you don't know how to break it down, you
Johnson controlling the pace of the fight.
We have to understand that in our celebration of Jack Johnson and that one-on-one, mano-a-mano, man, this is you and me, and this is what we're going to deal with. There were lynchings the day after every fight. And that's very important to understand as it relates to the psychology. He used to love to drive. He used to love the speed. And he'd be speeding someplace, and the police would stop him. And because they saw that he was a person of African descent, because they saw the car that he was driving, some may have known who he was, but they said, well, what this man doing with this car? They would fine him. They say, okay, we're gonna give you a ticket for speed. Here's the $500 ticket. $500 for speeding back then? Story has it, he'd give him $1,000. He said, because I'm speeding back.
In the sport of boxing, there has always been a need for the great white hope in boxing. Since there could not be one in real life, Hollywood just created one, and that's what the Rocky movies were about.
They were giving out the awards, and Rocky won, okay, the Oscar. And Muhammad Ali came out, and he was the one that gave Sylvester Stallone the award.
But can't you see I'm working? I'm the real Apollo Creed. You stole my ship.
And Ali, in his most powerful way, came out and said, you know that story was about me. He said, you know that was about me. You know that y'all dream about beating a black man. He said, but you know what? The only place you'll ever do it is in Hollywood.
Kids, I didn't tell you about the radio, but tell us again about your new CD.
Yeah, you can find it online on Apple Music, on iTunes. Midnight Dealin', just search Jojames, Joe James, and you'll be able to find it on all downloading streaming sites.
We love you.
Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show. Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show. Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show.
Here's your daddy.